Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Racing the Races. So tomorrow we've got the Scottish National at Ayr. We've also got some racing at Newbury. The race I was looking forward to at Newbury, this Spring Cup, I was looking forward to seeing Isla Kai run off a £9 lower mark than when finishing fourth last year. Only beaten, what was he beaten? One length in total by all three in front. Doesn't turn up. I have no idea why. I think some trainers and owners they look at a race, they think, oh, we got beaten it last year, so they don't go there. I mean, that form was really strong. That should have been where he should have been running. So we've only got the one at Newbury, and that's actually in the final race of the day. But we'll come back to that shortly. We'll start off talking about Ayr. Now, I made a tweet. Let me see if I can find that tweet. Actually, somebody replied with a silly reply. I hate replies like this. Let me just find it on my other screen. I'm scrolling. Lots of people talking to me yesterday. Give me a second. Here it is. It's a stupid reply. Okay, back on, sorry. The 12th of April, I highlighted Frere Darm. Make a note for the Scotty brand handicap chase. It was great to see he is running. It's great to see he's top rated. And unsurprisingly, the market has already found him. He was available at, let's just have a look, 11 to 4, I believe. 11 to 4 was comfortably available. And yeah, he's now a price that I was kind of more expecting. Hopefully some of you did get that bigger price. I did try and highlight him a few times on Twitter, so he's definitely worth following me on Twitter as well. I will highlight horses that sometimes I spot the prices before I can actually give them out in these videos. So yeah, Frere Darm. Why do I like Frere Darm? He wasn't fit last time when he took on, or when he made his kind of return again after nearly 5 months off the track. He was second behind Black Jerry. Black Jerry's obviously won a Sussex Champion chase since. It's really, really good form. And yeah, I'd be very disappointed if Frere Darm doesn't go very close, if not win. Well, I think he wins tomorrow. I really do. I think he's going to take all of the beating here. His biggest danger for me is the second favourite, Pay the Piper. Obviously, he was an eye catcher for us last time at Aintree. I kind of wanted them to not run here. It's only been 9 days, one, and also they've got Frere Darm to beat, who I don't think they can personally. So I think Frere Darm will win the first at Ayr, and he's a good starter for us. So the rest of the races are going to have to turn off the ratings, but I will still be able to do the analysis of those races. So moving on to the second race on the card, it is the Champion Novice Handicap Chase. I thought again Thunder Rock should be running here, not in the graded race. But with that in mind, I think this makes it a one-horse race. I really do. I think it would be disappointing if City Chief doesn't win this. All of the others are handicappers. City Chief has won a Grade 2, albeit an easy Grade 2 at Wetherby. The favourite ran no sort of race. But he's a course and distance winner. He's won at Ayr over this 3 mile trip, over hurdles, beating Hidden Heroics, who's done all right. Hidden Heroics is rated 135 over fences, and City Chief was giving him £12 that day. So it was probably a good run at the course as well. I mean, Oscar Elite is the second best or the second highest rated officially, with a rating of 139, but that should not be good enough. He doesn't have the likely progression that City Chief has. He's so exposed. We know roughly his mark. Sail Away was being beaten earlier this season by likes of Accelerator Express and Indy 5. The 12-year-old Indy 5 was able to beat Sail Away. That again shouldn't be good enough. Where it all began has been beaten by horses such as Mercury Lane just 2 runs ago. Mercury Lane is rated 118 in Ireland. Again, that shouldn't be good enough. The biggest danger for me is Temptation in Milan. His third last time out behind Better Times Ahead and Galon de Vazel was a good run, and he is still there's still potential to improve. but he's got to improve to be probably a graded horse to win this. Is he a graded horse? No, not at all. Are any of the others graded horses? No. City Chief is the only one here that could be a genuine graded horse. And with that in mind, I think City Chief, I think his price is at 9-4. That's a bit of a surprise. I think he's very much like Dusart from last year. Dusart obviously won this race off 2-1, at 2-1, sorry, off top weight, beating Sounds Russian, and proving himself to be the best horse, a graded horse running in a handicap. And I think Nicky Henderson's doing it again with City Chief. He doesn't run many here. He's only had 2 runners in this in the last 10 or 12 years. One of those was Dusart last year, who did win it. And I think City Chief should take all the beating here as well. Moving on to the third race at Ayr. We've highlighted 2 for premium promos already at bigger prices, and both of them run, which is good. I think it's between the 2 of them. I still do believe that, and I think I know which one I prefer of the 2. So the 2 that I've highlighted are Rabaul and L'Eau de Sud. Now, Rabaul was obviously our selection 2 runs ago in the Betfair Hurdle. He went off 8-1. He disappointed. He was very keen, and the race didn't work out for him at all. He's come back and won a Grade 2, beating Mullenbeg by a length and a quarter, 12 lengths, clear of 3rd. Good, that was good form. And he is very unexposed. He is rated 130, which is £5 higher than his Betfair Hurdle run, which isn't ideal. But I think there is still more to come from him. He's only a 5-year-old, and I do think there's more to come. The horse who I would be disappointed, though, if there isn't more to come, I'd be confident there's more to come from him, is L'Eau de Sud. Now, Dan Skelton is a very clever trainer. He knows how to win big handicaps. He's done it with the likes of Lemilos and Langadan this year, Favois, and many others, Midnight River, and plenty of others that I can't even remember them all. Why do I think L'Eau de Sud is good then? Last time out, he ran in the Morbattle Hurdle. And the Morbattle Hurdle is a race that if you win that and then win at the Cheltenham Festival, you win a £50,000 bonus. £50,000? I think it was £50,000. Or it might have been £100,000. I think it was £50,000. You win a £50,000 bonus. Now, I believe Dan Skelton likes to target those. And his horse finished 3rd this year. And ran a really good race. And I think Dan Skelton would have gone there thinking we could win both. We could win this and under a penalty win at the Cheltenham Festival. He didn't win in the Morbattle, so I think they went, well, we're not going to waste him in the Morbattle then, in the County Hurdle or the Coral Cup. Obviously, as it happens, they won them both anyway. I think they really fancied Pembroke in the County. They won it with Favois, and obviously Langadan won the Coral, so they didn't need to waste L'Eau de Sud, off the back of a quick run. What was the benefit of running so quickly when you probably had good chances of winning anyway, and then you could look after him for this race? Dan Skelton, obviously, in the Morbattle, the last 2 years he's actually run Favois, and Favois has proven himself to be a good horse by winning the County Hurdle. So he knew he had a horse when he kept running him in the Morbattle, but it never quite worked out in the Morbattle, and he ended up dropping a little bit in the handicap and winning the County Hurdle. Now, I think Dan Skelton knew that he had another horse that could do the double in L'Eau de Sud, and it didn't quite work. But with that in mind, I think running off the same mark, Dan will be disappointed if they don't take all the beating here and think, we've got to bump into some really well handicapped horses to lose here. Colonel Mustard, I know, beat L'Eau de Sud, but I just think once once he was beaten by Colonel Mustard, he gave up quite easy, Harry Skelton. I think he looked after him a little bit more than Kieran Buckley did on Colonel Mustard. Colonel Mustard ran in that off 143 with a £3 claimer, Kieran Buckley. He runs in this off 146 with the £3 claimer. So he's actually £3 higher, whereas L'Eau de Sud is not. And I think there's more to come from L'Eau de Sud being only a 5-year-old compared to Colonel Mustard, who is an 8-year-old. So I think both the 5-year-olds are going to go big, going to run really big races here. But if I had to be picky and just choose the one, it'd be L'Eau de Sud, who I think Dan Skelton knows what he's doing with this horse. Moving on to let's just have a look at the prices. L'Eau de Sud at 6, 13-2. We can say 13-2 because there's 2 of them. and Rabaul at 13-2 because there's lots of 13-2s. So yeah, I think both of them will go really close in the Scottish Champion Hurdle. Obviously, Dan also had West Cork in this last year for us, who ran a really good race, didn't quite win it. He finished second, didn't he? Which was a real shame for us. But hopefully we can get a Dan Skelton win tomorrow. Moving on to the 3 o'clock race. Again, I think there's a horse here who stands out. And I think most of these are handicappers that could nick a graded race. But I think there's a graded horse in this race. And that's Balco Coastal. I know a lot of these have been favourites I've been highlighting, but I do think the favourites are going to go really well tomorrow. He won at Kempton on his, was it his return? Let me just have a look. No, he won. He finished 5th or 6th on his return, actually beaten by Frere Darm. Went off the 13-8 favourite that day. He then bounced back by winning a handicap at Kempton by 9 lengths, beating Solo. Solo's obviously franked that form, winning a Grade 2 recently. So that was a decent run from Balco Coastal. Balco Coastal then went to the Scilly Isles at Sandown and pushed Jerry Colombe all the way to the line, with Thunder Rock 3 3/4 lengths behind. Now, I don't believe Thunder Rock can reverse that form. They're off the same weights, you know, both carrying 11.2. Last time at Sandown, or 2 runs ago at Sandown, they both carried 11.7. So there's no weight pull. Balco Coastal was clearly the best horse, and I think Thunder Rock needs 3 mile. So I think Thunder Rock will be finishing, but I think Balco Coastal will already be there. And yeah, I mean, who else in that race is of graded company? Well, tell me something, girl. I think she's a good mare, but I don't think she's graded company. Unexpected Party, I think, is a handicapper. A good handicapper, but I don't think he's a graded horse. Richmond Lake is running today. That's Alright Gino, I think, is a handicapper. Again, a good handicapper, but I don't think he's a graded horse. And Hang In There, I know he's been winning races recently, including a Grade 2. It was a terrible Grade 2 after the main 2 pulled up. I mean, Mortlack, who's only rated 132, finished second. He did. He finished second off 132. I mean, that's not graded company at all. Yeah, I don't think Hang In There. I think Hang In There's been given brilliant placing, but I don't think he's a proper graded horse. And Balco Coastal is, and Hang In There actually has to give away £5 as well. Balco Coastal, for me, is the only proper graded horse in this race, with Thunder Rock, but Thunder Rock wants 3 mile. And with that in mind, I think the price about Balco Coastal at 2s is very kind. It would not surprise me if they both, you know, himself and City Chief went off nearer, you know, 5-4, 6-4 sort of price, rather than the 2s at 9-4 they are. So yeah, I'm really quite sweet on Balco Coastal here. Fortunately, there are a lot of favourites. So let's try and find. Let's try and find something that isn't a favourite. Unfortunately for the Scottish National, I really believe it's out of the front 2 in the market. The front 2 in the market are Kitty's Light and Monbeg Genius. Now, Monbeg Genius is interesting for his 3rd last time out when he went off favourite for the Old Teamer. He went off joint favourite with Corach Rambler, and obviously that form was franked. What you could say though is, well, will he stay the trip? It's not guaranteed that he'll stay the trip at all. Just like the Goffer didn't stay the Irish national trip. The Goffer ended up going off 22-1 that day, and yet he wasn't that far behind Monbeg Genius in the Old Teamer. The Goffer didn't stay. Monbeg Genius has got to prove that he stays as well, and as of yet, he hasn't proven that. He's only run over 3 mile. This is 4 mile, so he's got to prove he stays, and for me, he's also got to prove he's a 155 horse. Why do I say that? Well, that would be a £10 rise for Monbeg Genius. Well, I believe Kitty's Light is £10 lower than what he should be. Kitty's Light over this trip is a 150 horse, and he's running off 140 after obviously dropping significantly in the handicap, and then winning the Ida Chase. Now, I think that was a good run in the Ida Chase. Things didn't go totally to plan either, and yet him and the Galloping Bear did pull clear. The Galloping Bear, I know, disappointed last time out in the Midlands, but had previously shown some really strong form, including winning a William Hill Grand National, He finished second. Well, he finished second in the Ida. He'd won a Surrey National, so he'd got proven stamina, and then he ran a really good race, pushing Kitty's Light all the way to the finish. Take him out, and Kitty's Light's won it comfortably, despite things not quite going to plan. It's interesting to see Kitty's Light has also got the cheek pieces and the tongue tie on tomorrow. So the last time they tried that was actually in the Bet365 Gold Cup, where he finished third behind Hewick and Musical Slave. Now that day, Musical Slave was incredibly well handicapped, and Hewick was even more well handicapped, wasn't he? I mean, he went on to win all sorts of races, didn't he? Including the Galway Plate, the American Grand National. Yeah, I mean, that was a really good run. I think the cheek pieces back on for Kitty's Light will just bring out a little bit more. The trip, the going, he wants nice fast going. It's good to soft, good in places. If we get a little bit more sunshine, and if that was good to soft in places, I think Kitty's Light, takes all the beating here, even against a potentially well handicapped Monbeg Genius. So yeah, I mean, it's not very interesting, but I do think Kitty's Light wins this race at Ascot at Ayr, following in the footsteps of Win My Wings for the trainer who did the same thing last year, winning the Ida and the Coral Scottish National with Win My Wings. The final race I want to talk about, and this one we will get a price about, but I don't know what it is yet because nobody's priced it up, and that one is Warning Sign for Gary Moore, right down the bottom here. Obviously this is in alphabetical order, so ignore this for the ratings. These are not our ratings, these are in alphabetical order. So why do I like Warning Sign? Well, he's only been with Gary Moore for 3 runs now. He finished 8th in a series mile handicap, he finished 6th in a race at Goodwood, and then he finished 10th last time out in the Spring Mile. Now, for me, that run in the Spring Mile was actually a really good run. Go back and watch it. Watch where all the horses are, and you'll notice that Dirty Old Town, Baltimore Boy, Billy Mill, and Isla Kay, and Warning Sign all over that far side. All the rest came down the near side. And yet, of those mentioned, they finished 10th, 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. Those 4 that stayed over there completely tailed off big time. They were well beaten, and it didn't work for them at all. And yet that actually included 3 of the first 4 in the market, and yet being over that far side didn't work. Warning Sign, however, under Anna Gibson, was able to actually keep up a little bit, and eventually came over to join this near side group, but had done most of his running over that far side and was still able to not. He didn't get completely walloped and disappointing, pulled up right out the back. He was only beaten 11 lengths. That came off a mark of 83 in a Spring Mile. He's now down to 81. Tom Queally takes over, and in this race, which is a much easier race than what he was running in, I think he can go really well here. I'm really hoping that we can get, the forecast that I can see here is 20 to 1. I think that would be a great bet at 20 to 1. You only want to have 20 to 1 for the Spring Mile. I'm hoping that we can get 14s plus about Warning Sign. I hope that nobody really believed that run over the far side was such a good run. And Tom Queally back on board. And I think Gary Moore can win this race. And he might also have another one, obviously, on Tuesday, which if you have been following my videos, you'll know who that is. On Tuesday at Epsom. I won't say any more because he's got 3 runners at Epsom, so that narrows it down quite a lot. So yeah, I'm really hopeful of a reasonable price for Warning Sign and a very good run. So just going back over them, Fred Arm, I think he wins this, doesn't he? I think they've waited for this race as well, whereas Pay the Piper, who I believe is the biggest danger, only ran 9 days ago, and that might just be too quick to come back out. I think City Chief is the only graded horse in the race. I think the others are handicappers, and I'm becoming a big fan of those horses that run in handicaps off top weight that are actually better than handicappers. I believe Lotus Sud and Rabaul are the two 5-year-olds can run really big races in the Scottish Champion Hurdle, and I think Dan Skelton believes Lotus Sud was ahead of his mark by running him in a race where they were trying to win and then potentially win a bonus. I believe Balco Coastal is the only graded horse running in the Grade 2. I think the others are handicappers, except Thunder Rock, but I think Thunder Rock wants 3 mile. I think the National is all about Kitty's Light. Those cheek pieces on as well will really help. He definitely stays. It's not 100% sure or guaranteed that Monbeg Genius will. And finally, Warning Song. I think he can run a really big race in the last race at Newbury. If that run over the far side at Doncaster was as good as I thought it was. Thanks for listening. Hope you all have a great weekend, and look forward to the flat season kicking off very soon.